All right. Good morning. Welcome into the Out of Bounds Show, ESPN 1059 The Zone, brought to you by Sound and Communications. Now, who do you call to get your next video wall for your business, hospital, college, or high school, or arena, football stadium? They've done that all over the SEC. They just did a lot of the lighting and stuff for Mississippi State. SoundcomAV.com. They've done it for A&M and a number of Power 4 and G5 schools. If you need a video wall for your business or school, Sound and Communications, SoundcomAV.com. We welcome in our friend Mike Detillier, WWL Radio TV New Orleans. Mike D joins us on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. And the LSU Tigers with a statement win on the road against a veteran-laden Clemson team. And damn, that LSU defense was awesome. And Nussmeier made play after play. Mike D, talk to me. How impressed were you with that LSU defense?
Very. Been waiting a long time to see that again. But, man, they were fast. They got to the football. They were physical. And, we've talked about this before. They got talent. They got talent depth on that defense. In the two spots that have not been there for many years, and that's along the defensive line and in the secondary. You saw it play after play. And Switch saw it in the fall during the practice sessions. Now, some of that, wondering if maybe who they were going against, because their offensive line, a lot of new pieces there, but that held up. Their offensive line held up against Clemson's front. That was the biggest surprise to me. Them to play better defense wasn't, but how well they played on defense for game one was a really huge surprise to me, and they finally didn't try to reinvent the wheel with Harold Perkins. And he came up big in that last play.
He did.
Man, when you saw his closing speed on Klubnik, because he was on one side of the field, and he came all the way across to put pressure on Klubnik. And, Cade's a really good athlete and a tremendous football player. But when he saw Harold, he had to get rid of that ball, and it was fast. There's one thing with Perkins, man, he can run. Coming off that knee surgery, he is unbelievable athlete.
Mike Detillier, LSU with the big win at Clemson. Brian Kelly needed it. The fan base needed it. Now they feel good. They play La Tech this weekend, and then they get ready for the Gators coming to Death Valley in 2 weeks. All right. And then 2 weeks after that, they go to Ole Miss. So this is pretty insane schedule for LSU, 3 of the first 5 games. All right. Mike D. Nussmeier looked like a veteran, got the offense in the sets and formations they needed to, read the defense. I just thought he played for week one almost flawless football, which is extremely difficult to do this day and age.
It's very poised, and you can tell, the experience of been there. And I tell people all the time, that's nothing like experience when you play at this level. And, being able to talk to him a few times over the summer, he brought that out, that he really felt that last year gave him a jump and gave him the time to learn and what not to do and what to do very well. And even with a very young offensive line, never played together, that he made it work. And they got playmakers. And you saw it at wide receiver and tight end. And Trey Daz, at a 6'7.5" tight end, joking with him at Manning. I was like, how can you overthrow him? He said, well, I have a few times. He just gave a smile about it. But, man, again, the biggest surprise was that for the most part, going up against a team that you potentially have 3 first-round pick defensive linemen,
Yeah.
Nussmeier got sacked once.
Yeah.
Only once. They held up. And, again, you saw the poise, his short, quick passing expertise really, really showed up against Clemson. They didn't try to go deep. They kept it short, and it really worked. But Garrett showed the poise of a veteran quarterback. And, you look across college football, and those are the guys, with the exception of Isaiah Simmons now. Give him a lot of credit. He made a couple of mistakes, but, man, he was impressive, too, at Ole Miss. For a guy who hadn't played a lot of football, you saw the zip in that football and his accuracy skills. Ole Miss got something there with him. We've been talking about him since I really got to see him work out at the Manning Passing Academy. He was so impressive to me. Such a smart young man, but physically gifted. And my old buddy Deuce McAllister always says, I don't know why he's playing football the way he can throw a ball. He should stick to baseball. That was really something to see. But again, when you watch college football this week, the experienced quarterbacks, they got it because there is no preseason.
No.
Arch Manning found out, real quick.
Woo!
Hey, you don't get, the only way to get experience is to play, and he found out the hard way.
That was a tough opener. All right, let's go there. LSU with the big win. Brian Kelly needed it. They've got La Tech this weekend, and then they host Florida the next weekend in Baton Rouge. Arch Manning, I think he'll be fine, but it was a rough day, and it was somewhat embarrassing for Sark and Arch. Were you surprised that it looked that bad, Mike D?
Yeah, absolutely. But they got out-coached, and you could tell. Matt Patricia did a great job defensively and threw a lot of different looks at Arch. And that first pass, because I'm doing pregame for LSU, and I saw that first one bounce, and I'm like, Herb Tyler and I looked at one another, and he said, "You are right. Oh, it's one of those old moments that you say, this might be a long day," but he never really set his feet and threw the ball on time. He was rushed on every pass, and everything was a little off with him. And I think he maybe felt the pressure of all this buildup. And listen, it can happen. And I agree with you. He's going to be okay. He's going to be fine with it. But goes to show you, man, Ohio State defensively, man, they got some people there. You think about how many teams in college football, they had 14 players drafted and 3 players signed as undrafted free agents. So 17 players off that roster. And look what they put out on that field. How impressive was that? And their defense really played well. Their offense is kind of a work in progress.
Sure.
But when you got a guy like Jeremiah Smith, he scared the bejesus out of you. And he didn't have his best day. He dropped a couple throws. But listen, Ohio State ain't going anywhere. They are a really good football team. And I'm anxious to watch this week Oklahoma, Michigan. Because in watching the games and sometimes it's who they play. But if you didn't come away after watching John Mateer throw the football in game 1, man, Michigan guys going to have their hands full with an Oklahoma team. And I've been saying this all summer. There's a team to watch in the SEC who isn't getting a lot of ink. It's the Sooners. They have finally pieced together a team that has got some talent on defense, and boy, you got a quarterback that can sling it. And John's smart. He's accurate. He's just a very poised guy under pressure. I watched him. He was at Washington State, and he was such an efficient guy. And this offense is built tailor-made for him at OU, and they got some playmakers. So I get it. That Michigan, they do have that reputation, and they got some talent. And their young quarterback Underwood played pretty well for game one for him as a true freshman. But John Mateer, you're going to be hearing his name a lot in college football. That young man can flat out sling it, and he's accurate.
Yeah, so Ole Miss plays at Oklahoma later in the year. And if Mateer...
that's going to be a good one.
That's something.
LSU, too. And it's late. It's late in the year, LSU.
Oh, yeah, last Oklahoma. Game of the year. Okay.
In Norman. And, they got shellacked last year. That was probably LSU's best defensive effort last year when they played Oklahoma. But they had Jackson Arnold at quarterback. And he looked lost against LSU for whatever reason. Because you can see Jackson's strength is his ability to run the football. And he had Baylor's defense totally confused. But, that surprised me because Auburn, I thought Baylor could do a few things defensively to stop Jackson. But, they looked terribly lost going up against a quarterback that you knew was going to run the ball, and they couldn't stop it.
No. I didn't. All right, so we bounced to Auburn and Baylor real quick. I didn't think he looked comfortable playing from the pocket, but he hurt Baylor all night with his legs. So I'll be interested.
Never does.
Yeah.
He never does look comfortable. Last year he played Tulane early, and we have John Summerall on track today because it's Tulane Tuesday on WWL
I love
Radio.
it.
And John, felt he had a really good game plan going up against Jackson Arnold till he played him. And, man, Jackson was terrific running the football. He never looked comfortable. Bo, you put it exactly right. He's never comfortable in the pocket. You can tell he wants to get out of there almost as soon as he's in there.
Well, yeah, he doesn't give it a shot at all. So I just wonder, look, it worked Friday night, and I give him all the credit in the world. He made some great plays. But, Mike D, as you know, eventually some games you're going to have to be able to go through a progression or two and play from the pocket, right?
Yeah, because what they do, they're going to put you in the cup. Yeah. The old Chief, when he played Johnny Manziel, that was his deal. And because
John Chavis?
Coach Chavis was, I'm putting him in the cup. And at first, he sort of confused me, but put him in the cup. He's like, he said, I'm going to cup him. I'm going to cup the sides, and I'm going to cup the middle, and I'm going to make him throw it. Because that was his deal, that Johnny is not going to beat me. If he beat me, he's got to beat me throwing from the pocket. And, man, the two games that Manziel played against LSU, he really struggled. I give Chief a lot of credit, man. John Chavis had him confused, and LSU had the athletes to do it, too, on those two teams. That they kind of did. It was Bobby would always call it a sugar rush. It's a half rush, and basically you stay in your lane and you make him throw it. And that was Chavis's deal against Manziel. But he would always tell me, man, if he beat me, he's going to beat me throwing it. He's not going to beat me running it. Because if he gets away, or as he would put it, he gets out of the cup, he gives me problems. And Manziel didn't do it against LSU. He had some great games against other teams, and I always wondered why other teams didn't steal what Chavis had done, because it worked in the two games that they played against Johnny. He really struggled throwing the football from the pocket. And what you bring up about Jackson Arnold, watch if other teams don't do the exact same thing.
Yeah. And you make a good point about that. Circling back a little bit for our listeners, Oklahoma hosts Michigan this week. So, as Mike D said, John Mateer from Washington State, who looked really good last weekend, maybe Venables. They brought Mateer's OC with him too. Maybe they can turn the corner. They fired two offensive coordinators last year. It's been pretty up and down. Levy's first year was not good. Second year was. Venables hasn't been able to get that thing revved up. We'll see if now with John Mateer, who looks like a little baller, can get it rolling. But Michigan at Oklahoma this weekend. All right, Mike D on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line, WWL Radio TV New Orleans. It's Tulane Tuesday, and John Summerall wins again against Northwestern. And let them know when we want to wear our white jerseys for Katrina, then you should let us, or we're going to take you out to the woodshed. But I got to go.
John,
go ahead.
John is something, man, and I've always told him this, and he just laughs. Tulane doesn't have superstars on the team. Huh. They got a superstar coach.
Yes, they do.
And I'm telling you, John Summerall is a superstar coach, and he is one of the wittiest guys on the air for a coach. He's quick-witted, and he would not name a starter last week, okay? And everybody knew it was Jake Retzloff, the former BYU quarterback. So he must have been listening before he came on, because I had Spencer Rattler come on. And so I asked him, I said, Coach, I'll give you the platform. Who's going to be the starting quarterback? And he said, well, I just heard him, Spencer Rattler. So, hey, man, he's quick-witted. He's funny with answers. He always tells you a nice little story about what's happening. And, he was getting on me because, I had knee replacement surgery, so I couldn't really move around real well for a while. And he was like, Mike, I let anybody at my practices. I even let Coach O come in, so why don't you stop by one day? And I get to tape the talk between the two of y'all. I was like, okay, Coach. But he was funny as hell.
All right, let's switch gears. Mike D obviously covers college football and the NFL. Out of New Orleans. He joins us on ESPN 105.9 The Zone. The show is brought to you by Superior Foundation for all your foundation repairs, superior.ms. Mike D, Alabama, Florida State. Give Florida State and Norvell big-time credit and that staff for what they were able to do after a disappointing, abysmal 2024. However, did you ever think that you would see Bama this lethargic and without the effort and execution that we're seeing?
Of all the things I saw this weekend, that was the shock to me. They were not physical. They didn't hustle to the football. Their offensive line, which was supposed to have been the strength of their team, sort of fell apart after one drive. A lot of people point the finger at Ty Simpson, but the defense stunk. I mean, Florida State looked like they were playing at a speed level twice the speed level that Alabama had. And I know that's not the case. They were out of position. It was a lot of guessing. And, the quarterback, he got the comment of all comments that, hey, Nick Saban ain't here to save y'all. And you would think, and he said that about 3 times in the offseason, you would think, you'd be a little bit motivated to go up against them. They got it taken to them. I mean, Florida State took the belt off and spanked their butt, and they they left some marks. Of everything I saw this weekend, that was the shocker. And, again, going back to, Herb and I doing pregame, and it's the look on everyone's face as they watching the game about, is Alabama this bad? And I know they're not that bad. They got talent.
No.
But they seem lethargic all across the board. And my thing is, it's not just one thing. And I get for some people, it's overreaction in week one. Okay, and to a certain extent that's true. But you can't have this many things go wrong for you. And it was across the board. I laid out on Kalen DeBoer. His team didn't look like they were prepared
No.
to play Florida State.
I
They looked totally unprepared.
I was shocked. All right, let's see. We've still got a couple of minutes here. Game balls, Mike D. So I'm giving a game ball to LSU for sure. Everybody, Kelly, the defense, Nussmeier, all that. Help me. I'm giving a game ball to Carson Beck in Miami. Cristobal has been embarrassed as far as coaching on game days. He's a phenomenal recruiter, but they've had some slip-ups. Huge win. And game balls to Florida State and Auburn. I mean, these are teams that played Power 4 to kick it off, Mike, and they did what they had to do. I'm impressed more than ever this day and age.
I am too, and a name you're going to hear a lot. And I watched him at Virginia Tech, and he came in here at LSU, and he basically, I mean, he's got some athletic arrogance about him. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't have any problem with that if you can play. Mansour Delane, cornerback at LSU. Since Derek Stingley left LSU, LSU has not had a corner as good as Delane. They threw at him 8 times. He had 4 knockdowns of a pass. He intercepted a pass. He gave up 1 reception against Clemson, against their top receiver. I'm just telling you, you're going to be hearing that name quite a bit.
Wow.
Delane.
Okay.
Bo, I'm just telling you, he is a cut above what you would see at corner. He's the best corner that's been at LSU since Stingley left.
Ooh.
And DJ Pickett, as a freshman, he was in on 26 plays. I think they threw at him 6 times, no receptions. I have never, this is 41 years for me, I've never seen a 6'4" corner in my life. Never. And he's as billed as a true freshman. I know he, because of the opponent, he didn't get a lot of ink. But, boy, I was impressed with Isaiah Simmons at Ole Miss.
Yeah, Austin Simmons was fantastic.
With Mr. Simmons, really was.
I can't wait. That's 2:30 ABC this week at Kentucky. Hey, Mike D, you're the best. We'll talk next week, okay?
Thank you, buddy.
If you need a video wall, which they're really cool because they did one for us. If you need a video wall for your business, your school, Sound and Communications, locally owned, soundcomav.com, soundcomav.com.